Hello you lovely Mario Maker person, my name is Ceave and welcome back. Super Mario Maker is a game about jumping. But Toad sometimes carries a backpack so heavy that he isn't able to jump, while it is possible to create crazy boss fights and minigames where Mario happily jumps in between lethal threats. The game has no built-in bosses for poor Toads whose backpacks are too heavy to jump. But luckily that's a fixable problem. Today we'll take a look at 6 designs for boss fights without jumping, and we will give Toad finally a chance to prove the world that he is able to survive encounters with the most dangerous creatures, even if he isn't able to jump. So you ready? Let's do this! The first boss Toad has to fight in this video is a Jump Chomp. A Jump Chomp is a horrific and dangerous creature with the head of a chain chomp and the belly of a Goomba shoe. This being madly jumps around and tries to eat everything that crosses its path. Sadly for Toad, he just crossed its path. But that's not his only problem. This Jump Chomp lives inside a dangerous train which constantly moves to the left. To make matters even worse for Brave Mushroom, there are cannons shooting towards him. If he was only able to jump, surviving this boss encounter would be so much easier. But jumping is no option here, because if he jumps, the train collapses and Toad has to survive this train ride on top of ouching saw blades. An impossible task. The train collapses because of hidden buzzy beetles at the top. If Toad jumps, they throw themselves down and trigger a power block, which leads to a lethal chain reaction. So Toad's only chance to survive here is by carefully walking to the left and to the right, until the saving exit door finally appears. Hooray! Here, Toad has to survive against an angry fire-shooting piranha plant. Jumping is no option here again, as even the slightest A press transforms the floor into shiny yet deadly coins. But if our backpacked mushroom isn't able to defeat this creature by jumping, how is he supposed to defeat it then? Well, luckily there is a pipe to Toad's right, which constantly spawns shell mats. While Toad isn't able to carry shell mats, he's still able to kick them. All that he has to do here is to kick 5 shells towards the evil piranha plant in order to kill it. But this is easier said than done. The fire which this abnormity of a plant shoots is only one of the threats which our Yum Yum backpacker has to dodge. There are lethal note blocks cycling at the bottom as well. If Toad touches one of them, he's forced to jump, which kills him here. But if our brave treasure tracker stays focused, he's able to survive this boss fight. Which leads him to our next one. Here, Toad is underwater. We all know by now that Toad isn't able to jump because of his backpack, but his backpack is so heavy that it not only prevents him from jumping, but from swimming as well. While he's technically able to swim in this idea, it is definitely a bad idea, as swimming collapses the Muncher's ceiling. This is because of a one P-switch contraption, which is hidden out of sight, so the only chance which Toad has to survive here is to carefully dodge the angry skeleton fish, which swim towards him with suicidal tendencies. At the top there is a shellmat timer hidden, which expires after a while. Once this timer expires, the exit door blocking Muncher dies and the exit is finally accessible for a heroic treasure tracker. And now Toad has to enter a cave where a horrific creature resides. A gigantic creature. A creature with skewers for ears. Toad has to fight the world's first Gigantobolt. The Gigantobolt is a huge and horrific creature. Not only does this beast try to stomp Toad, but it shoots cannonballs towards our poor mushroom as well. But luckily, Toad knows exactly how to defeat such a creature. The Gigantobolt's weakness is his gigantic head. All that our backpacker has to do is to walk over the Gigantobolt's head for 3 times, as this causes the beast headache and forces it to raise its skull cap and grants Toad access to the exit door, which is hidden inside the Gigantobolt's brain. So what prevents Toad from jumping here? The whole area is filled with hidden question blocks. Hidden question blocks are only triggered if Toad jumps towards them, but he's able to walk through them on top of a platform or vines without activating them. While it is possible for Toad to cheat here and to trigger a couple of question blocks which help him by jumping, it is generally the better idea just to avoid hitting the A button, as it is really easy to trap yourself here if the evil A button is pressed. After a while, Toad manages to reach the Gigantobolt's head for the 3rd time, which finally grants him access to the exit door. Hooray! In order to survive our next idea, Toad has to take some extra measures. He needs to disguise himself. Perfect. Now the game confuses Toad with Mario and grants our mushroom some additional abilities which he needs in order to survive the next boss fight against... a Sledge Bro? What is a Sledge Bro doing in my videos? Anyway, since he's already here, better use him. So here, our disguised backpacker has to dodge the threats which this hammer-swinging turtle throws into his path. If Toad wants to defeat it, he needs to catch the Koopa shells, which spawn below the hammer-swinging madman, and he needs to throw exactly these shells on top of the small block at the top. This block carries the shells towards the spring, which pushes them into a POW block. Once the second POW block is triggered, the Sledge Bro dies and Toad is rewarded with a key. If our Yum Yum Mushroom decided to jump in this idea, another form P-switch contraption would have been triggered, and he would have fallen to his doom. And now, let's take a look on our final, jumpless boss design. Here Toad fights against a gigantic dragon statue. This statue constantly shoots fireballs into our brave mushroom's path. Toad can't jump here, but he's able to use the springs to his advantage. While jumping kills him, Toad is still able to move vertically here because of the springs. The anti-jump forms are set in such a way that they allow Toad to gain the height of the spring bounce without destroying the floor, but as soon as Toad gets a little bit more height, he dies. Now all that's left for Toad is to make strategic use of these springs in order to dodge the fireballs which constantly move towards him. After a while, the hidden shell timer expires, and Toad is able to leave this idea. I hope you enjoyed this little video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to leave me a thumbs up, and maybe you feel especially jumpless today and want to hit the subscribe button as well. I hope that you have a wonderful day and to see you soon. Goodbye!